Hi, it's Bill Flynn, New Canaan Nature Center. I'm out here in our north woods, and our syrup season has just ended, but I noticed one bucket that is still remaining with some sap still in it, but see how that sap's a little yellowish? It has gone too far and is not good for turning into syrup anymore. So this is one of our sugar maple trees out in the north woods of the Nature Center. Sugar maples give us the sap that we turn into syrup. When they're younger, sugar maples have a really smooth gray bark like this one. So a little texture to it, but a lot smoother. And as they get older, they get a little bumpier. And then when they get even older, they get way more bumpy. So like this guy. So it gets a lot more of these shelves. I don't know if you can tell, you see this shelf in here. It gets a lot more textured like this. A lot of people ask, how do you know which ones the sugar maples are? It's hard, but there's no leaves. Our syrup season actually ended because it was so warm so early. One of the things that most people don't know is that during the winter time, all the sap that's inside of the tree, so all the sap that's being made up in the leaves in the summer, all the sugar that's being made turned into sap, it actually can't stay up in these branches during the winter time, because if the sap stayed in the branches and then when it froze, when water freezes, it expands. And if it expanded up in those branches, the ice would have nowhere to go and the branches and trees would explode. The trees are extremely smart. They take all the sap that's up there and they take it down and store it. That's right, in the roots. Think of your pipes that you dig at home, your house. They all have to be 3-4 feet down below the frost line. The frost line is how far down the ground will freeze. So depending on what area of the country you live in, what part of the world, the frost line will be higher or lower depending on the temperatures. But here, 4 feet is an extra foot. That's usually safe. So what the tree does in late fall is takes all the sap, drains down, and is stored down underground. So when the first signs of spring happen, those first warm days, the sap starts to melt in the down in the roots. That thawing out actually brings the sap up the tree. So as it thaws, it builds pressure and starts traveling up. Now it's traveling up. Here's a nice baby sugar maple I can show you. It's traveling up the tree, traveling up to the end of the branch to this. These are the buds of a sugar maple, the short, black, pointy. So the sap is going up and feeding these buds. It uses the sap as food for this bud to turn into a leaf. So that's what's happening early spring, is the sap's flowing up the tree and feeding these buds. And once the buds have been fed and the leaves start popping, that's pretty much a sign that all of the sap has been soaked in and leaves are about to pop. And then the sap does not taste good anymore to us. It gets a very bitter flavor. So if we, this is one of our buckets. So all you do for to tap a sugar maple tree is you make a little hole, and it draws straight up the tree. So this bucket is actually drawing from the roots that are right below it, and so this root would not get into that bucket. It would be on this side, not this side. So it drips out of the spile, that's what this thing's called, into the bucket, and then we boil that down in our sugar shack. A lot of people ask, does that hurt the tree? My answer always is, we tap the same trees every year. If it really hurt the trees a lot, then the trees would not survive every year. The rule is generally about 12-inch diameter and begin tapping. If we could tap this tiny little baby sugar maple, but it would take too much of the sap, the percentage of the sap, so it wouldn't feed its buds here. So we don't tap them. This one is probably a little too small. So this one's probably about 8 inches in diameter. So we wouldn't want to tap that yet, which is why we didn't put a bucket on it. So our syrup season, because it's so warm early, is pretty much over. And we really should start seeing these buds popping soon. Syrup season and skunk cabbage are really early signs of spring. Daffodils, necks, crocuses. Spring's right around the corner, and we should be seeing more and more natural signs. Thanks.